Are dome tents really the best tent? Today, we're gonna find out. The dome camping tent is America's most popular style of tent, and there's a few good reasons for that. First of all, they're widely available at a number of big box stores, so they're very easy to get your hands on one if you decide that you want to go on a camping trip on an impromptu whim. Number two, dome camping tents are pretty cost effective. They're fairly inexpensive, and you can pick up a decent one at a good price, which is important if you're just thinking about getting into camping. And number three, these tents are designed with versatility in mind, meaning that they handle a wide variety of weather conditions really well, and they're typically pretty decent in bad weather conditions, including high winds and heavy rain. One of the big distinctions between dome tents and other styles of tents is that a dome tent is a double wall tent. And what this means is that the inner structure of the tent is comprised mostly of a really super breathable mesh, and the waterproofness comes from an external rain fly that you apply over the top of the frame of the tent. This component is critical when it comes to dealing with condensation, which makes the dome tent the best style of tent to take out in rainy weather, in cooler temps, or in conditions where you go from having a high temperature during the day to a very low temperature at night. Those are the types of temperatures that are going to produce condensation inside tents, but dome tents are specially built with ventilation in mind. Essentially, the entire tent is a large vent with a 2 to 3 inch gap between the rain fly and the large mesh on the interior of the tent. This allows the maximum breathability, and this tent is the best at handling condensation. We've talked an awful lot about the good things about dome tents, but what are some of the drawbacks? Well, quite frankly, it is a more difficult tent setup process. It is more lengthy, and for larger tents, you may need a second person. So those are all drawbacks to consider. Another major disadvantage to dome tents is its use of space. Dome tents tend to have pretty angled side walls, which drastically reduce the amount of vertical space inside one of these tents. This is what makes them effective at shedding rain and also standing up to high winds, but seriously limit the amount of headroom that's available in these tents. With that being said, most dome tents are going to have an entryway that requires you to operate a zipper that's very close to the ground and usually crawl in and out of these tents. Dome tents are particularly popular among younger, healthier people, and an older crowd may prefer a different style of tent that's a little bit easier to get in and out of. What gives dome camping style tents their structure is the use of a flexible interlocking frame that supports the main body of the tent below it and supports the rain fly above it. Dome camping tents use 2 or 3 interlocking shock corded poles, which are hollow fiberglass or hollow aluminum tubes with metal housing connectors on each end that allow them to be interlocked together. When the segments are interlocked together, they create a thin, flexible pole about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch in diameter that's tucked into a pocket or pin at the corner of the tent floor and arched diagonally across the tent to the opposite corner. When the tent poles are crossed, they create an arch effect, which becomes the frame of the tent. Now, architecturally, arches are one of the strongest shapes used in construction and engineering. So having 2 or 3 arches built into the frame of your tent is a key factor in the dome tent's ability to hold up to high winds, heavy downpours, and snow. Can't make up your mind? And if you want to know what the #1 best-selling tent on Amazon is, click right over here, and I'll see you guys on that video.